Hey, what's going guys? This is Alex Cook. So making a follow-up video to my last video on Chainlink. So Chainlink is a cryptocurrency that I've been following that I think it has some good potential to it. Technically it's a token, but United States use the term token, crypto interchangeably. Point being is though, yesterday on May 30th, Chainlink released their mainnet, meaning that their product is finally come to fruition, and then the price dropped. So I'll let you watch the previous video. I'll include a link to it so you can get caught up on why I like Chainlink, what the background on it is. But point being though is that the price dropped from a high of about $1.40 a couple weeks ago to hovering around $1. In fact, breaking slightly below it over the past 24 hours. So bottom line is that I am still bullish on Chainlink, but this is very much a long-term play. So there was a lot of hype about the mainnet, and I think that hype was overblown, frankly, in the short term. But I'll explain, first of all, why this is a long-term play, not a short-term one. So the reason why it's a long-term play and not short-term is that just straight up, no one really uses smart contracts yet. Like there's a lot of potential for it, but you don't really see businesses using this yet outside of really just a few really niche cases for like some crypto to crypto transactions, but you're not seeing Fortune 500 companies or major banks use these yet. Those are the intended use cases, but it just hasn't happened yet. So smart contracts are still very much in their beginning stage, and really so is blockchain in general. Like a lot of companies don't really have a positive impression of crypto, for better or for worse. Like when you think about crypto, a lot of companies, they think about like, the guy on Instagram with like, the rented Lamborghini saying, hey, DM me for my trading course, bro. Or like, the guy with like the laptop by the pool, and they're basically like the new penny stock scammers. So even though blockchain tech and smart contracts have a lot of potential, there is still that stereotype, for better or for worse. There was some straight up fraud, like, the BitConnect guy screaming into the camera, but that all being said, there are some legitimate use cases now. So back to the bullish case. So, there were some memes about Chainlink, and, we've all seen them. They're pretty funny, but I don't think the people that made them with these pretty ridiculous price estimates that they're putting out, I don't think they really understand just how long it takes for companies to make enterprise software transitions. So I'm going to start kind of on a bear side, but I'm going to explain why I am bullish in the long run. So, I actually worked for a Fortune 500 company in Dallas. It was an energy company. And when I was there, the company was going through a big transition of a lot of its trading software because, they did trading on the natural gas markets, the electrical market, that was its bread and butter, but other commodity markets as well. So a big transition of its software to handle these derivatives. And that took about an entire year. Now, keep in mind, this is done with basically commercial off-the-shelf software that other customers were using right now. And it was done with a major managerial consulting firm who I'm not going to mention their name, but you've definitely heard of them. So that kind of narrows down the margin on who they are, with them helping them out in the transition. It still took an entire year. Now, blockchain, smart contracts, like we're not there yet. We don't have commercial off-the-shelf turnkey solutions for blockchain. Now, here's why I'm bullish. I think this will happen eventually. So I think this is attractive now to get invested in promising projects at a very early stage when they haven't really been discovered as much. Because, if you look at some, people who follow crypto, Chainlink is really only like a few people really talk about it outside of a very small vocal group. It's not talked about nearly as much as other cryptos. Yet I do see it as promising. So I view this as a good time to get invested in an early stage thing that has potential. But I want to be clear, this is an investment in potential and not live performance. Like there are companies right now that provide data to derivatives, all right? Bloomberg, Thomson Reuters. We haven't yet put derivatives into smart contracts. And then we haven't yet connected those smart contracts to data, which is what Chainlink wants to do. So Chainlink solves step number 10, and we're still trying to get from step 1 to 2. So I am interested in it as an early stage investment, but I want to be clear, this is still an early stage investment. So you have to have a long-term focus and not a short-term one. So wrap this up, do your own research. I make no statement on suitability if Chainlink is suitable for your particular case or your financial risk. So this is not investment advice. So always do your own research. But to wrap it up, I am still bullish on Link, even though it did sell off a bit after the mainnet announcement. I think there's a lot of hype that went into it that was maybe unwarranted for what they were really doing right now, which, they released a product, great, but now it's time to see if how many people actually use it. And I think this is still really several years off. Like, look at venture capital firms, venture capital funds. The time commitment on these funds as an LP investor is usually about 10 years. Like, that is standard because startups, it is very normal for them to burn through capital and lose money for the first maybe even 3 years before things ramp up. Like, this is normal. And I think some people that were bullish on Chainlink, they don't really quite appreciate how much work it takes to start a business and scale it. Or, for that matter, how much it takes for large businesses to adopt even normal software, much less blockchain, which still hasn't been proven yet. So, I am bullish on Link in the long term. Short term, though, expected to be choppy. So, if you enjoyed this kind of content, hit subscribe below. I'm trying to produce new things that people would be interested in. So hit subscribe if you liked it, and thanks for watching.